Hey guys, Cadin here, and no, I'm not 2 weeks late to this, shut up. Today I'm going to be comparing the Charge SMG to the Stinger SMG in order to determine which one is more deserving of a spot in your inventory. Before we get into that, I have something that I'd like to go over first, and if you don't care about what I'm going to say, then skip to this timestamp right here. For those of you who've been playing Fortnite since Chapter 1, you may recognize this video style from a certain other YouTuber. For the ones that don't know this person, I'll give a quick explanation. Back during Chapter 1, there was a YouTuber by the name of Flam. The content they made was mainly videos comparing and breaking down weapons in Fortnite. Their videos were incredibly informational and very well put together, to the point where I consider them to be one of the best Fortnite YouTubers. So you're probably wondering, well, what happened to them? Well, they quit YouTube because they started to go blind. I wish I was joking when I said that. Long story short, they were born with poor eyesight that evolved into a medical condition that gradually deteriorates your eyesight until you go completely blind. No, that's some shit that I wouldn't even wish upon my worst enemy. Them leaving YouTube because of this has left somewhat of a void for this kind of content, and I hope that with my concerningly extensive knowledge of this game that I can fill that void. Maybe not perfectly or to the same level as them, but enough to where my videos would be helpful to at least a few people. So without further ado, let's get into the comparison. For the bulk of this comparison, I'm going to be using the gold rarity of both the Charge and the Stinger, but there will be a part later on in the video that will require me to talk about the lower rarities. As you can see here, the Charge and Stinger both have the same damage and magazine size. The main difference is that the Charge has a significantly faster fire rate and reload speed, making it, on paper, the best weapon ever introduced in this game. It's also the best weapon for bleeding through turbo build, as it has the highest fire rate in-game, increasing the chance to sneak in shots on a turtling opponent. Also, it shares the same range stats as the Stinger, starting damage drop-off at 40 meters, ending at around 75 meters, and not doing any more damage past 150 meters. So you're probably wondering, Cadin, if the stats say the Charge is clearly better than the Stinger, why doesn't the comparison just end here? Well, in case you haven't been paying attention, this weapon is called the Charge SMG, so you already know some bullshit is gonna ruin all that. Quick warning, I'm about to say the word Charge multiple times in the next few seconds, so get ready for that. The Charge SMG is very similar to the Charge Shotgun in the sense that you have to charge it in order for it to actually be somewhat useful. The main difference between the Charge Shotgun and the Charge SMG is that instead of charging up for damage, the Charge SMG charges up how many bullets you shoot. It also takes significantly longer for the Charge SMG to reach full charge than its shotgun counterpart. I went ahead and timed how long it takes for it to reach full charge, and let me just say, it was not easy. For some reason, my editing software only runs at 25 FPS, so this may not be 100% accurate, but it's as close as I can get. I'm going to go ahead and play the clip now, and as you can see, it takes roughly 2.67 seconds for it to reach full charge. Since it charges 3 bullets at a time, we can conclude that it takes around 0.267 seconds for a single charge. This information will come in handy when we get to comparing the time to kill of both weapons. Before we get to that, let's go over the accuracy and recoil with both weapons, because I forgot to do that earlier. You can see here that before any shots are fired, the Stinger starts off more accurate than the Charge, but as you keep shooting, the bloom on the Stinger grows much greater than the bloom of the Charge, which stays the exact same throughout. However, the Charge has a much stronger initial kick than the Stinger, making it a bit more difficult to control. Now, the moment everyone has been waiting for. Time to kill. For this, I'm going to be comparing the time to kill at both 100 health and 200 health, because you start with 100 health and 200 is the maximum health in this game. First off, 100 health. The Stinger SMG has a time to kill of 0.42 seconds at 100 health, and the Charge SMG has a time to kill of 0.3 seconds before factoring in the charge. Since it takes 6 shots to kill with a gold charge, that means you have to do 2 charges, which takes 0.534 seconds, bringing the time to kill of the charge all the way up to 0.834 seconds, which is almost double that of the Stinger. This also gives the Charge the slowest time to kill of any SMG in the game. However, we are not done there. When it comes to 200 health opponents, the Stinger has a time to kill of 0.83 seconds, and the Charge has a time to kill of 0.59 seconds before factoring in the charge, and after factoring, the time to kill goes all the way up to 1.66 seconds, which is literally double the Stinger. This isn't where it stops either. Remember when I said that we'd talk about the lower rarities of both weapons at a later point? Well, now is that time. The common and uncommon rarities of both weapons each take 1 extra bullet to kill at 100 health, and 2 to 3 extra bullets at 200 health, depending on which rarity you have. For the sake of this comparison, we're going to be using the gray rarities. So for 100 health opponents, the Stinger takes 0.5 seconds to kill, and the Charge takes 0.36 seconds before factoring the charge, and 1.16 seconds after factoring it. The reason this is such a drastic increase is that instead of taking 6 bullets to kill at 100 health, it takes 7, which means you have to do a whole extra charge in order to get the kill, massively increasing the time to kill. The same is true for a 200 health opponent, because it takes 14 shots to kill instead of 11. So for 200 health opponents, it takes the Stinger 1.08 seconds to kill, and the charge 0.77 before factoring the charge, and 2.11 seconds after factoring it. I feel like it's clear which weapon is superior. Unless you have the patience to wait for your shots to charge and the accuracy to not miss them, the Stinger easily takes the crown for this matchup. While it may not beat the charge when it comes to the on-paper stats, where it does shine is when it comes to actually killing opponents, having literally half the time to kill the charge in each matchup. To be completely honest, I really feel like the Charge SMG might genuinely be the worst weapon in Fortnite. It simply takes too long for its true power to shine, and by the time it does, well, you're already dead. That sounds oddly familiar to another weapon we talked about in this video. Probably just me. Anyway, that's it for this video. Hopefully you found this informational. See ya.